We're entering into the end of man's um, sojourn on Earth, and people wonder, how do we classify this situation? How do we clarify it for ourselves? How do we explain it to children? How do we explain it to ourselves? It helps me to think of it as absurd theater. There's no question that when China says, look how close we allow the Americans to come to our borders, that they're the ones who are speaking the most reasonably. But it's only one person speaking. Likewise, Putin is only one person speaking. Doesn't have much checks and balances on him. When he says what he's doing is for the benefit of Russia, it's absurd theater. Look what he's doing to those poor kids out in the field being slaughtered. When America used to say what we were doing was for the benefit of Vietnam, it was a hoot. It was absurd theater. But we're stuck with the fact that the reasons become clearer, even though that the medium that delivers them hides the message that's within the message. The face behind the face, as Yevgeny Yevtushenko put it, which is a guessing game. We can learn a lot by thinking about what we're supposed to think. I'll tell you what we're supposed to think. We're supposed to think hard and long on what seems to be the most true. I'll give you a rundown on what's most true looking thing. You'd like to think that when America came out on top, the armed squabble, for a while was the lone ranger of the planet. One superpower. That they were the gardener who could be trusted, who could understand what the world needed most. That democracy had fomented an ecological mindset of magnanimity towards others. A great gardener had arisen who knew how to open hearts and bring smiles to the faces of children, who knew how to overcome reluctance, who, when faced with the struggle between the God of pleasure and the God of love, came along with the God of responsible behavior and managed to convince people to do what was right and best by others. You didn't need to be much of a prophet to know it wasn't going to turn out that way. There's going to be a bunch of hard heads getting greedy, saying, looky, see, we can rub roughshods over all them. We won. You know, the sensitivity barrier and the 50s mindset came home to me when I was on Mount Desert Island, being used by a secret illegal cult. And Bush said, read my lips, as if he didn't know there was a deaf man being used in a secret illegal cult. People couldn't even investigate the Kennedy assassination. Ian Whitemaker, who was really into foot and mouth disease, told a story about a woman who had a telephone cord wrapped around her neck. He said to me, ha ha ha, she got tangled up in it in her sleep. These were stories from his old man, who was a psychiatric director of Attica State Prison and a friend of Peter Gabriel and Robert Fripp and the NAACP in Pittsburgh, picking on a little white. Read my lips, they were saying. Look for the lips of the cars. We're going to teach you you should steal, which I didn't do. I didn't want to. Bought one of the assholes a car to get him to stop. So we see the face behind the face when we get to what's really going on, which is gross incompetence by the law enforcement society. I mean, why is Gail Burstyn at large? Anybody can see what she did, and all this licky chop stuff from the NAACP. The papers was worth one. You know, it just was absurdity from Jeffin being used as a cover up for her. Anybody can see that Greg Carl should have been arrested. The inability to investigate and nail down what these poachers did is absurd. Yeah, we're living through absurd theater. That's what it is. And what we're supposed to think isn't what's really going on, because the storyline that America was grossly incompetent was foretold. Trump and Putin worked together on this super story. The only thing that's happening is what's supposed to happen in the minds of the gamblers who are doing the poaching. It's absurd theater to think otherwise. Oh, we're the good guys. Puh. None of us are any good. Start fucking getting along. Maybe somebody will believe you when you say you're the good guys.